Hello boxing fans, this is my video about PEDs in boxing, steroids as well, so if that's what you want to call it. This is question answer session. I've asked you to send me questions. If you've got questions at the end of this, put it in the comment section. I pretty much always write back anyway. So, I'm going to get straight into it now. Question 1, what do you need to be a successful boxer without PEDs? You see, without PEDs, all you got to be is like an artist and making a masterpiece with a blank canvas. To make a champion, you need a blank canvas. You need all the right natural attributes. Blood work, in other words, to get all the oxygen around your body. Breathing, to get all the oxygen into your body. Natural power, to be heavy-handed, decent speed, etc, etc. You need genetic makeup, in other words, not to get stupid little injuries, prone to injuries such as shin splints. You need to have a good immune system, etc. And you need the natural mental health aspects. For example, it's best to be able to get in there and not choke at the first minute, instead of someone like Audley Harrison who chokes about you can't. That's not good. What you need, and all tactics, you see, and technique can be taught later, because humans can be taught things, but you can't get taught 2 stone or just you got to last long. You can't be taught that. Okay, question 2. Why do people use PEDs? Okay, you see, there's always someone who is better than you out there. And basically, what you need is a natural equalizer. Now that science is advancing, you basically have a natural equalizer. If someone's got better stamina than you, you can take certain steroids that will put into your body artificial red blood cells, so that they will transport oxygen around your body at greater levels, so that you can last longer. You see what I mean? If let's say that you've got shit bone density, so you break bones and get injuries, we can sort that out for you now if you've got the right amount of money. Question 3. What do people or athletes use PEDs to enhance? What are the main attributes? You see, for me, it's all about matter of opinion in this one, really. And for me, it's blood work. If you can't run 15 minutes without getting shattered, or you can't go 12 rounds without almost dying after 6, you're never going to be a successful boxer. So you need that instant equalizer, which would be to add artificial blood cells to your body. In other words, if you take something like EPO or ITPP, you increase your blood work, your red blood cell count, artificially, and you'll enhance your energy levels by up to 60%. Now you're thinking 60%, what is that? That's a long time. If you can go 6 rounds, that means you'll probably get another 3 or 4 rounds out of you. So then you only have to jump around for the 2 rounds without being shattered. So it'll be okay. You see, it's very important, the blood work, as basically it pumps around all the oxygen to your muscles. And let's look at people who move up in weight. Let's look at Manny Pacquiao. 7 weights or 8 weights, yeah? And that means he's had to put on 7 pounds of muscle mass each time he's moved up a weight. So that's 49 pounds of muscle mass, okay, that he's got to drag around on top of his body for 12 rounds, jumping around for 12 rounds, which is about, what, 40 minutes? That's a rough estimate, yeah, 40 minutes? Okay, so you go out, to prove how hard that must be and almost impossible without steroids, try and put 49 pounds in a bag and go for a jog. You won't last 5 minutes. It's just not done. You can't do it, really. And don't say I'm just bashing Manny Pacquiao, because Floyd Mayweather's put 35 pounds on his back and went for a jog with it, with that. So that's 35 pounds of muscle mass he's put on. You see what I'm saying? Both of these guys, it don't look good for either of these guys. I'm calling them cheats, but it just don't look good. Another question is, what are the biggest problems faced by athletes who take PEDs? You see, for me, PEDs is a short-term answer to a long-term problem. And whenever you do something short-term, you always open up long-term problems. You have to do it long-term. You have to look long-term. You can't do short-term. You see, if you take something like human growth hormone short-term to make yourself bigger, to make yourself stronger, you know, maybe, yeah, in the short term it will help, you'll be able to go up those weight limits, etc. But in the long term, if you have just that slight genetic defect in your system, let's say a cancer in your system, that will pulsate and it will grow at an unnatural rate, because you've added the human growth hormone. And you can't just pick parts of your body like, I want my shoulders to be bigger, I want my legs to be bigger, I want my pecs to be bigger, but I don't want anything else to be bigger. No, it don't work like that. Everything gets bigger. Okay? Well, everything except one thing gets bigger. I think you can guess what that is. So everything's getting bigger. That means that even the cancer will be like attacked, in other words, to start growing even further. So people could be walking around with cancers who are on steroids. It happens. Another thing will be liver cancer. All these unnatural hormones will be attacking the liver. You see, that's gonna, and short term you can get like liver cancer, long term multiple organ failure. That's a worst case scenario. Another thing you could get is irregular growth of the heart. I'll give you an example. Do you remember that wrestler Eddie Guerrero? Right? He was a cruiserweight. He went away and came back a huge heavyweight. Okay? So he had to be on steroids. And if you don't think there's steroids in wrestling, then you might as well turn this video off right now, because delusion is your middle name. Okay? So what would have happened was, if he was taking all these different things, if he wasn't doing it properly, because they do get tested in that. If they get caught, they don't get paid. So they've got to have it hidden. They wouldn't have done the cycle properly, and therefore he may have got something such as irregular growth of the heart. Now, as far as I'm aware, what happened with him, he just 1 minute stopped breathing and then died there and then. Now, why would that be? Because there's been so much stress on one side of his heart, because the other half is grown out of proportion, that his heart just gave up and went, I can't do it anymore, that is it, boom, down. And that's why he died. His body was out of equilibrium, one half the heart was not in equilibrium with the other heart, and therefore he had a heart attack and died. Next question. I heard James Toney was prescribed drugs by a doctor. Is this true? Hell yeah. How do you think he made weight for the Lebedev fight? Turns out, James Toney was getting fat because he had a much lower hormone, and that is testosterone level, than he should have. You see, when you take steroids, you increase your testosterone level for a short period of time. Okay? Now what happens at that point is, your balls stop producing testosterone. They say, oh shit, I've got all this other stuff in my system, I don't need this extra stuff. I don't need to produce my own stuff. It's like if you go to the bar, yeah, you buy a drink, and then every one of your friends comes back with a drink. You're not going to go straight to the bar once you've drank your drink and go get yourself another one, are you? No, you'll drink all the ones that are in front of you first. That is the same thing about with your body, okay? It's going to use all the rest of the stuff first and not go get anything else. You see what I'm saying? So your natural production is just shut down. After your cycle's ended, the testosterone level will diminish after the half-life breaks down, and then your body will notice that it has low levels of testosterone in your system again, and then it'll go, oh, time to start back up. So it starts back up, and then you need to do stuff like post-cycle supplements to make it back to a natural level. The only thing is, it will never be at the exact same level. It may be slightly above, or it might be slightly below. Most likely below how it was before you took the steroids. So like I said, short-term success and a long-term problem. You see, James Toney obviously took steroids for a long time, and he didn't do any post-cycles due to, he would get caught. So what's happened is it's destroyed his natural testosterone level, and therefore he's had to be prescribed steroids to get it going again. Next question. When would the boxer be most likely in his career to take steroids? There's no real answer for this, in my opinion, sorry. It could be at different times. I think when a boxer is full-time at world level, he's in the gym 24/7, and he needs to keep pushing himself and cannot afford to lose, that is when you're most likely to take something to give you a competitive edge, But it could be different for anyone. Like, you might take it before you turn professional, and that way you've not broke any rules. What are you doing in between fights if you only fight once a year? If you fight twice a year, what are you doing in between all those times that you're fighting? Who knows? These are real questions that need to be answered. It's a good question. Do you have any first-hand experience of taking steroids or being offered PEDs in a gym? Well, yeah. I'm actually in the middle of a course of steroids right now. If you want to know what steroids they are, I've got a video about it on my page. Go check it out. And not only that, one of my friends who's now a sports therapist was once trained by a guy who trains a very high-profile British boxer now, and he was working with this guy at the time, and within 4 weeks of him training in this gym, he was offered steroids to get better. So I personally think that it is widespread within every gym, up and down, and it's up to the boxer to say no. However, if I would have my own way of getting it out of the system, I'll have to put that in a different video some other time. Here's another question. Is it possible to move up the weight without taking steroids? And the answer to that is yeah, it could happen. You see, you can always get, and this is from another video I've heard this, you can get genetic freaks. That is people who have larger than average hearts. Okay? And you know, Manny Pacquiao, maybe he's got a larger than average heart, you know, or another thing that I've noticed is his legs and hips are huge, you know, so maybe it's adding the weight to different areas where it will help you most, that will, you know, have some kind of a bearing on the stamina you can do. Like if you put it on your legs, it will obviously help you more than it would if you put it on your chest. Yeah, that's interesting in my opinion anyway. You see, that's a question that I'd have to look into a lot more. Okay, next question. What is the current testing period? Unfortunately, there's not a real answer for this one. You see, there's different things for different places. It's not always the same. Basically, you get tested when you sign for a fight. So once you're in training, you're under a testing period. When you're not under a testing period, you can pretty much do whatever you want. And my theory is, a lot of people after their fights go out and have their steroid abuse then. They go and do their pre-cycle, steroid abuse, post-cycle, and then they'll sign for a fight and just go back into training. They'll have a high hormone ratio, so they won't be burning themselves out. You see what I mean? That's my personal opinion anyway. Okay, next question. What do tests currently consist of? And yeah, that is basically urine tests pre-fight, blood tests post-fight. Now, if you want to know what they can catch, if there's always a blacklist, and that means anything on that list they can test for. Okay, so that's what they'll do in the post-fight blood test, and they can also do it in the urine test, but it's quite easier to get around things in the urine test. Also, you've got to catch things in their half-life. If the half-life is up, you won't catch it because it's not there anymore. Next question. What would need to be done to make the testing system better? Well, right now it's flawed. From the top to the bottom, it's corrupt. Doctors are paid to take bungs, promoters are in on it, probably the sanctioning bodies are in on it. That's what my personal opinion is. You see, there's nobody in charge. You can't tell who's in charge. It's really a murky water. There needs to be, in my opinion, a worldwide testing agency made. Someone who is independent. Someone who's basically can take charge of this. You know, because right now it's a mess. It really is a mess. They need to be independent. Okay, last question for the day, and it's about Victor Ortiz and if he's on steroids. You see, Victor Ortiz seems to have a bit of a schizophrenic personality to me, and that could be because he's on steroids, or there's this other theory I've heard which I like better, and maybe it's because he abuses recreational drugs. And I heard this theory from Irish NK, and this is that he maybe abuses stuff such as ecstasy or MDMA. Now the idea behind this is the body sends signals to your brain all the time. When you take amphetamines like MDMA, you have a short-term increase in the ability of your receptors, so you react to signals better. Okay? Now when your body comes off the MDMA, the receptors become damaged, right? So it'd be like you turn on a light and it goes really, really bright to the point where it damages the light. So when the light goes down, it's duller. You see what I mean? So afterwards, with continuous use, the receptors will become damaged, and the point where it will affect the signals and the hormone flow to the brain. Okay? So instead of reacting to everything in equilibrium, it will take a lot more of the signals to make your receptors react, if you understand where this is going. So in other words, he would have symptoms such as short fuses that we've seen in the Floyd Mayweather fight before he headbutted him. He was like, there's nothing wrong with him for a minute, and all of a sudden he went to headbutt him. Why did he do that? There'd be also personality changes, like he went from really angry from like headbutting Floyd to trying to hug him, kissing him, and then laughing and smiling after he just lost the fight by knockout. It looked really weird. So you see, all of this would also mean he probably needs MDMA to function normally day by day. This is a guy who's got a lot of money, he's come from a hard background, and he's never truly left the gang culture. He's still got all the same friends. So I'm sure if he needed ecstasy, he could get ecstasy.